Good day, everybody. I hope that you are well and also hope that you are having a good day so far. Today, we'll be doing our advanced writing. We specifically going to focus on grade 9 on commonly misused words. And before we start with our lesson on commonly misused words, we're going to log into aplusstudents.ca. Once we've logged on to aplusstudents.ca with our username as well as our password, and then we're going to select the subject of language arts, grade 9, and then we're going to scroll down up until we get to the chapter of commonly misused words. All right, so our chapter is commonly confused words. Our subject is English language arts, grade 9, which is advanced writing, and the lessons that we're going to be focusing on under the chapter of commonly misused words is to correct errors in everyday use, correct errors with signs, and to use the correct frequently confused words. All right. So when it comes to commonly misused words, right? Then there's certain words that we use, let's say out of context, or when we use it within the wrong context, right? So certain words are often confused with another word. So it's like you're using a specific word, but you're using it within the wrong context or in the wrong sentence, or in the wrong way, right? So we say that certain words are often confused with another word. So which means that within your writing, right, you need to pay close attention to these words and make sure that you are using them correctly, right? And a few examples, right, of words that we commonly misuse, right, is, for example, the word fewer and the word less. So the word fewer and less, they have similar meanings, but you should use them differently. Like, for example, we would use fewer to describe things you can count, almost like countable nouns, like pencils, right? So you can count pencils, you can count pens, and so on. So we use the word few. And then you need to use the word less. And then we use the word less to describe things that you can't count. Like you cannot count water, you cannot count snow, cannot count rain, right? Those are things that you cannot count. So we see that when we use less, we describe things that you cannot count, which is like water, it is snow, it is water, it is rain. And fewer people than expected came to watch the race. Fewer people than expected came to watch the race. So we make an example where we say that fewer people than expected came to watch the race. Fewer people because you can count the people, right? So they came to watch the race. And then our town received less snow this winter due to the heat wave. So we see that our town received less snow this winter due to the heat wave, right? And there we also have a difference between it being countable and it being non countable, right? And then also if there's another word, right, that is commonly misused. All right. So another word that is more commonly misused is the word of affect and effect, right? So the word affect and effect, right? And the word affect and effect, they have similar spellings, like affect and effect. They have similar spelling and can do sounds at the same, but they have different meanings. So when it comes to commonly misused words, right? We said certain words are often confused with another word. So we said there's a difference between affect and there's a difference between effect. And the only thing that is similar in the meantime is the fact that they can spell together, make sounds together, which is pronunciation. So we said affect and effect have similar meanings and can sound the same, but they have different meanings, right? So it sounds as if the meaning is the same, but they actually have different meanings. So we said that with certain words, right, these words are often confused with another word. And in our writing, we're going to have to pay close attention to these words and make sure that they are using them correctly, right? And we made an example of the word fewer and the word less, right? Because those are words that people are, it's like they misuse the word, right? And then we also have affect and effect. So affect and effect. So we said affect and effect is also a commonly misused word because the word is similar in spelling, but the sound the same, as well as the differences are the same or similar. When it comes to affect, right? Affect is when a verb that needs So we said that with affect, right, it is usually a verb, it's an action that means to change or to influence. That is an affect with an A that you have over someone. It's either you come into somebody's life as a good example, positivity, right? And then we have effect. So we said firstly, affect is usually the verb that means we are no longer, right? It means to change, right? Or it means to influence. And then we have the word effect. An effect is usually a noun that means an outcome or a result. So it's like waiting maybe your effect of the effects of them calling back after you went for a health checkup or something, right? All right. So when it comes to our team, right? All right. So we see that there are a lot of commonly misconfused or misused words, but starting with the ones that is quite big is fewer and less, loose and loose. All right. So usually also when it comes to effects, not effects, but when it comes to commonly misused words, right? These are also different words that we need to, let's say, try to eliminate in order to also pay attention to the words that we are misusing, as well as also to have a more construct and concise type of writing, right? So certain words, once again, are often confused with another word. And in our writing, we should pay attention to these words and make sure that you are using them correctly. Oops. So we have, okay, so we are doing our tutorial lesson on aplusstudents.ca, right? And let us go to aplusstudents.ca. All right, so when it comes to correcting errors in everyday use, right? So think of a poster, right? And a poster that is supposed to be giving you a sign. So in certain of the posters, there are corrections that needs to be made or words that needs to be written properly or correctly, right? So we need to correct one of that. It says the forecast calls for rain all day are you still going to the picnic? Right? So, which means that we need to correct that one word. And if we were to correct that one word within this, is it like a post type of thing? Then we can say it's forecast. Then we write the word forecast, right? So the forecast calls for rain all day. Are you still going to the picnic? So forecast is the correctly used words, and forecast should be changed, right? Because forecast was missing an E. And forecast is a common misspelled or misspelling for forecast, right? All right. So now it says this is almost like a message that was sent, and it says, Emma, I'm so grateful for my amazing family and this Thanksgiving. So we need to correct one error. All right. So if we look at a specific word, right, and then we can say, firstly, grateful. So grateful, it's with one L, right? So I am so grateful, and we only put one L for my amazing family and this Thanksgiving. So grateful is staying. All right. So we said I'm so grateful, and we removed the one L, right? New Year's Eve resolution is to stop taking things for granted. For granted, right? So which means that this word is a word that we also need to, for example, fix, which is for granted. It's granted, right? So granite, it becomes granted, right? So my New Year's Eve resolution is to keep my things, is stop taking things for granted. So for granted, not granite, granted. So for granted is like, of course, when you take something for granted, right? All right, let's go to our test. So we need to correct the one word. Patience is a virtue. So patience is a virtue. Do we say it's the first one or do we say it's the second one? Patience is a virtue. And if we were to choose the correct one, we will say it's the first one, right? So patience is a virtue. Well done. Well done. Some people have no manners. Look at the word manners. If we were to correct that word, would the first option work or the second one? So manners, right? So if we look at this word manners, then it's almost like some inn or B&B manner, right? Like some lodge. But if we want to talk about manners and behavior, right, then it is manner, which is Manners. And yes, we will go with the first one. So well done. First one is correct. My New Year's resolution is to stop taking things for granted. All right, so now we need to correct the one error, that granite error. My New Year's resolution is to stop taking things for granite. Do we say granite in the first sentence or granted in the second sentence? So if we say Happy New Year for granite, then it means that we are moving on to another one, right? So granite, let's go for this one, the second one. Yes, and that one is correct. Then it also says you need to correct one error, only one. Bro, when are you getting home? I think I just heard a ghost. Dude, I'm sure it's just a pigment of your imagination. So, bro, when are you getting home? I think I just saw a ghost. Dude, I'm sure it's just a pigment of your imagination. So, we now need to choose the correct one. It says, bro, when are you getting home? All right, so pigment of your imagination. Let's go by the second one. And the second one is correct. There it says, I knew we were expecting a lot of snow, but this is crazy. That snow is literally looking like a mountain. All right. So we can say, I knew we were expecting a lot of snow, but this is crazy, right? All right. So we said, I knew we were expecting a lot of snow, but this is crazy. And basically, both looks the same, right? I don't know. Oh, and the first one is correct. So now the last one, it says, I'm so excited for the potluck next week. What should I bring? I'm excited too. Could you bring a vegan dessert? All right. So it says, I'm so excited for the potluck next week. What should I bring? I'm excited too. Could you bring a vegan Z. Let's go with that one. Oh, that's the other one, which is basically just written smaller because it's basically the same. All right. Then we have two correct errors with signs, right? It's also the same as the previous one as which we did, but this time around it's also signs that we need to correct with errors. So now if we look at this one sign, it says congratulations seniors, right? So which means that we need to, for example, fix that error. And if we fix that error, we will then write congratulations. Congratulations, right? Without the D. Congratulations without the D. So flu shots are available here. So flu shots are available here. What are we going to fix here? What error do we have to fix in this picture? All right, so if we say flu shots are available, and then we are going to remove the E by just saying flu shots are available, right? And that is without the E. I know the mistake that we usually make is to add the E to the word flu, but flu we basically write without the E. I know, I still write it with the E. At least now I know, right? And let's look at the last one. It says all dogs must be on leashes. And if you look at the word dogs, this word, that word with the apostrophe, right? As soon as there's an apostrophe and then it shows position, right? But if they're saying all dogs, then we are talking about more than one dog. So which means that we need to remove the position or the apostrophe and then we must just say all dogs must be on leashes. So this is the correct word. All dogs must be on leashes. So we are going with dogs, and dogs is more than one because remember, dogs means that, like, for example, it says all dogs must be on leashes, meaning we're talking about more than one dog, and we're not just talking about one specific dog, right? So which means that it is plural. Dogs, it is plural form, right? And this over here, that is an apostrophe, right? And once we show an apostrophe and an S, then it means that it shows position, right? It shows that something is belonging to someone else. All right, let's just do the test. Two things on the test, and then we are done. You need to correct one error, right? It says free legal advice, and there's a phone number. Do we say it's free legal advice with an S or free legal advice with a C? Which one is the correct one that we need to choose? This first one or the second one? All right, so we will say free legal advice, right? With the, and that's correct. The second one is correct. So well done. We buy used cars. We buy used cars. What do you think is the error within this picture, this poster or sign? And what is the correct one? Is it the first option, we buy used cars, or the second one, we buy used car? So we'll go with the first option. We buy cars. Because that word BYE, it's like saying goodbye, right? Yes, well done. It's like saying goodbye. So it's like the short for goodbye, bye bye. That is what it means, right? All right, let's do the last one. It says correct the one error. Buckle up, it's the law, right? So it's the law without the apostrophe, or it's the law with the apostrophe. Option one or option two. So buckle up, it's the law. All right, and if we want to choose the correct one, we will say it's the second option, because that option, like the word it's, that means it is the law. All right, so well done. All right, so that is now the end of our lesson on commonly misused words. Usually, there are certain words that we misuse, like few and less, and for example, and a few other words, right? But as you are writing, you're going to have to be aware of, using the correct words instead of misusing words. The same with signs, right? Signs needs to be spelled right, like correctly, especially since people, especially since people are drawn to look at certain signs and get whatever information, like quick information from there, right? So this is now the end of our lesson on commonly misused words. Thank you very much for joining the class, and I really hope you're going to have a good evening further. Goodbye.